Good morning, darlings. Good morning. Oh, looks like we have a new elder and an empath. We give a warm welcome to Sandy Delilah. Welcome. We have class starting. If you would like to join us. Why is it not starting? Let me just make sure this is okay. Seems to be quite a delay, and I'm not quite sure what that's about. Well, it says I'm on. Sunrise Tarot at 5 in the morning. Lovely time to be doing the tarot. You know, it was starting slow for me. What can I tell you, folks? What can I tell you? Now I'm seeing all kinds of things. Yes, Sandra, we have class tonight at 6 p.m. I hope you can make it. We are learning the history of the mystical tarot. You know, not everyone could read. You know, literacy. Only a few people had literacy. Only a few people could read the Bible, could read the Torah. And the rest of us, we relied on stories, you know, that we would memorize. Hi, Bobby Balerno, Maxine, Marley, Mary. I've got a little smudge there. Sandy, yes. Hi. Welcome to Fairies or to Elders and Empaths. You're a student. Yes, I woke up at 2:30 for my first wake. I ordered on Amazon my new candelabra candles. I mean, my new, whatever those are. Anyway, how is people? How are you all? Janice, good morning. So are you all East Coast people or are some of you just early risers? I'll probably go back. You know, I'm going to do some cleaning. Usually I get a first wake and then I get up. I do some mantras and some meditation. During my first wake, I'm descended from Victorians. What can I tell you? Yeah, and then I might do a little cleaning, and then I get tired around 6:30 and go to sleep for a couple of hours. I don't sleep straight through. I always have a first and a second sleep, which is how humans are kind of evolved. We would get up and tend the fire. Excuse me. We would get up and tend the fire and take care of things around the house, maybe do our mantras, depending on what part of the world we were in. Or it was called burning midnight oil. Oh, the Netherlands. It's the afternoon of there. Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, so it's 7 in the morning. Not too bad. 8 a.m. Okay, you're ready to go. You come from Puerto Rico. Yeah. We come from Puerto Rico. Now, people get upset at Coffee Talk. They go, I'm going to unsubscribe because all you did was hang out in Coffee Talk. And at a Coffee Talk, you sit around and you talk and you drink coffee and you guys talk about your stuff. And then you do some card reading. And that really annoys me because I just want to read cards and don't want the Coffee Talk. Listen, folks, it's called Coffee Talk because we hang out and we talk. We just talk, and we do some cards. It's very no big whoop. You know, this is no big whoop. It's not organized like Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday has a script. You know, we have, excuse me, show notes we got to do. We got floor director. We got a creative directors. We got all kinds of people doing all kinds of stuff. So, you know, we have a time limit and all that good stuff. But this is just no big whoop. Just hanging, doing coffee. Still recovering from my bronchial infection. COVID/wiped me out. Don't ever get Don't ever get COVID. Yes, COVID sucks. I would not recommend getting COVID. Yeah, second sleep. So your ancestors probably did that. They got up and they tended the fire. Most of us had ancestors that did that. In the Islamic tradition, it's called soap. Soap. There's a nice word. Soap. It sounds like soap. Right? Cleaning. Soap is also similar to soap. So, uh, when we think about Hebrew and Arabic, we think about the fact that it can be a P sound or a F sound, a P or a F sound, right? We've talked about, I like the P because the P looks almost like a G, right? And we can see when it has a dot in it, it gives you a F sound. And without a dot, it's going to be a P sound. So the end or the final in Hebrew is sof. Sof. So how do you say sof in Hebrew? Sof is the end or the final. So in Islam, we say soap, right? Soap is the final prayer that you do before the sun comes up. So it's a tradition found all over the world of saying mantras or prayers before the sun comes up during the first wake. And for those of you who are some of my students, we will be finishing up the Hebrew alphabet today. And this is one of the words that you can learn is sof, samic, vav with a dot on the top, which gives you an O sound, so, O, and then a pe at the end gives you a f sound with the dot in the middle. Yeah, so we just learned a word sof, the end in Arabic, sof, end, and in Hebrew, sof, and in Arabic, soap. Almost the same. And we see that a lot. We see that Arabic and Hebrew do share some, they have some nice, we find some overlap. It's early morning. You got to get some sleep. You got to get sleep, and it's been up all night. Oh, 8 in the morning. Oh, wow, Shivani. Wow, okay. So it sounds like you're on Europe time like me. Monkeypox. There is monkeypox now in Africa. I think it was first found in the Congo, and now it has spread to other areas of Africa, and now they're starting to see it's expanding. It's dangerous in people with a depressed immune system, young children. Most of us are going to feel crappy after monkeypox, but we will survive. Close contact is how you'll get exposed to monkeypox. The concern is that you may not. This is something that people didn't understand about COVID. Oh, I didn't bother to take care of COVID. I was fine. Not understanding that you're walking around with a contagious disease, exposing your people who may not have your immune system. And so even though you're fine, you're actually a walking public health threat when you have a condition like that. So even though we may be fine with monkeypox, or we might have mild symptoms, we have to also think about not exposing young children or anyone with a depressed immune system. This is the biggest lie that I hear from anti-vaxxers, is they simply don't understand that they could be killing other people. Well, I was fine. It was a mild cough, no big deal. I mean, it's just like, do you not understand how a contagious disease works? So you're doing fine and you feel, you're a little run down, but you go to work at the, senior center and you end up killing 20 people because you are walking around with a deadly virus for somebody with a depressed immune system. So that's the situation with monkeypox. If you have symptoms, we recommend isolating so you don't expose yourself to somebody who may be vulnerable. I think you'll probably be contagious anywhere from 3 to 7 days as you shed the virus. Though some people have said up to 2 weeks, depending on a couple of things. But that is the story with monkeypox. Probably won't kill you, but you could be putting other people at risk. You've had COVID 4 times. My bronchioles, like my bronchioles hurt. They hurt. I have inflammation still in my bronchi. Yeah, I still feel pain in my mid-back, which is inflammation in the bronchi. I mean, I still have good oxygen saturation. It's just this chronic inflammation in the bronchi. It's kind of annoying. No, I have no concerns about mRNA. That's debunked. There's a lot of stuff that's been debunked. mRNA vaccines don't go into your DNA. That's not how they work. No, that's silly. They're just spike proteins, and then when they get into your system, your body digests and processes the spike protein, which can't hurt you. You might get mild inflammation, but you'll get far more inflammation from COVID. So yes, there was inflammation in people with strong immune systems that are exposed to a spike protein, but the actual COVID itself is far worse in terms of just risk factors. And so your T cells process it and take it back to the beta cells, and then the beta cells produce an antibody. There's a lot of BS. And then people claim that they invented it, and it was worked on all over the world. It was mostly in vaccinating livestock and people that are in close contact with livestock, so that we don't have avian flu, get it going from the birds and then transferring to the swine like it did in 1917, 1918, and killed 60 million people when because it will take on the DNA of its host. And so what happened with swine flu is it began as avian flu, probably in Kansas, Missouri, where was quite a poultry. They had a lot of poultry plants, right? It's actually where my family comes from, is that part of the world, and everybody's working in the poultry plants, and so the workers were getting stuff. So the other important thing is to make sure we vaccinate our animals. Of course, the ultimate solution is to not have factory farms, because factory farms, overcrowding of animals, create these kinds of problems. So avian flu took over in Kansas City, Missouri, and then downwind were some pigs, and then it takes on the genetics when it mutates of its host. And a pig is much closer genetically to a human. And so at that point, it then went to a barracks of soldiers that were in some fort in Kansas, Fort at Leavenworth or wherever. These various different places where you had overcrowding of soldiers. And then they were shipped out to places like Spain and in World War I. And at that point, you had a major epidemic and 60 million people died. Yeah. So what has happened in the case of research on H1N1, which was I believe it was H1N1 that took 60 million lives. We're very concerned about these types of viruses. H1N5, I believe, was the recent avian. So they're not genetically much different, and their ability to take out large populations of people is pretty scary. The truth of the matter is COVID had a mortality rate of about 2%. So when people get laissez-faire, about a 2% chance of dropping dead, or at the very least being permanently injured from a condition like that, avian flu or swine flu, I think you're being really laissez-faire with your body. Oh, it'll be fine. It's only a 2% chance I'm going to die. Well, you know what? That's still a 2% chance that you're going to die. You roll the dice and, you might not be lucky. So looking at the data, I think for most people, the vaccine, I got the Pfizer. I had no reaction. And I got 2 Pfizers and 1 Moderna because I wanted to vary it up a little bit. And I got a very, very, very bad case of COVID. Now, would I have lived had I not been vaccinated? I think I would have wound up in hospital. And I think that it would have been very serious. I am getting older, 61. And yeah, I could have died if I had not been vaccinated. So I'm very grateful. Vaccinations were discovered by the Victorians. And if you look at homeopathy was this idea, naturopathic medicine, that like treats like. And so it was the natural doctors that were experimenting with how substances, how something similar can cause the body to have a reaction that bolsters the body so that when the real thing shows up, it can protect itself. So naturopathic doctors and homeopaths embraced vaccination. And then this weird cult started, probably out of Russia, the disinformation, wanting to kill Americans, basically, that more unvaccinated people would mean that the disease would spread to more people and more people would die. So it was, in a way, a kind of passive germ warfare, in the sense that they were giving massive amounts of disinformation to the general population. And unfortunately, thousands of people died as a result of that. Yeah, and again, you may be fine, but that doesn't mean your mother or your grandmother or your sister or your brother or the person at the grocery store, or all of the hundreds of people you may have exposed to and unthinkingly ended up killing people. So this is why, when I was on vacation, my friend Francis and we were both vaccinated, but we stayed very close together when I thought I was shedding the virus. And I stayed mostly in my room and didn't go out. And we only sat together. We really tried to maintain distance as much as possible because you don't need to be exposing other people. Yeah. Great questions. And, it stays in your lungs. I mean, it's still in my bronchi 4 to 6 weeks later. Not fun. Okay, so what you can do that's natural to open up lung function. Let me get some of my herbs. You know, you can drink teas and that can be helpful, but inhalants are also recommended. So here is something that I have a patient actually. I have to make her a remedy today. And she does have I think I will be doing a lung treatment for her. Um, yeah, I'm going to give her a lung treatment because I'm a nice person. Also a doctor, so it's my job. So this is eucalyptus, and this is a vasodilator. Or I mean, yeah, is it vasodilation? It will get the inflammation though down. The menthols in the eucalyptus. So you would boil the water, and you can put it in a pouch if you want to be clean and don't want to make a mess. Now to this, to the eucalyptus treatment. I got this on Amazon. Now you can drink it. It's not going to hurt you if you put a couple of these in your tea. I think I will probably put these in. It's such a pretty plant. I think they come from Australia originally. Anyway, so that's the eucalyptus. How beautiful these leaves are. I just love these. Everybody should have a eucalyptus tree. They're highly flammable though, but that, it's just such a good lung treatment. And then to that, you can also add to your water oregano and thyme. Here is the thyme. Herbs Orbit. And that would be a lung treatment. You put it in a bag. I also want to put juniper berry, crushed juniper berry, which, you can make gin from that. It's used to treat infections. You could also do elderberry. But that is my lung packets that I make people. And then we pour boiling water over the packet, and you put a towel over your head, and then you steam. And that's naturopathic medicine. Naturopathic medicine is cost effective for minor illnesses. An example would be I had acid reflux. So I could spend $1 million on acid reflux, or I could just treat it and take pharmaceuticals which come with side effects, or I could just be a naturopathic doctor. So how would you treat acid reflux as a naturopathic doctor? First, you would change up your diet to a diet of less acid-forming foods. So that would be like garlic, onions, spicy foods, and things that are high in fat, right? So you want to go low fat, right? You don't want to do like chopped liver and ice cream, right? And spicy meatballs, right? So we would change up your diet. And then the simplest, cheapest thing that they would do, the Victorians, is they would take a pinch of baking soda in your water. And baking soda, swill it in the water and drink it is all you need to do. Coffee is also something that causes acid reflux. I sometimes get acid reflux from coffee. And so you can just put a pinch of baking soda, which has a pH of 8.5, and it will convert your coffee, which say your coffee is a pH of 5, it'll get it closer to like a 6 or a 6.5. And at that point, it's no longer high in acid. So the other thing you can do is aloe vera. And aloe vera juice can be put in water. And those are treatments. Slippery elm bark chews can also be used. These are all simple, effective things, baking soda, etc. Calorie restriction is also recommended, particularly at night, so that we don't have food coming up. And if you have acid reflux, to me as a physician, that tells me that you have a weak core. Why would a weak core cause acid reflux? Anybody have any theories? I know, Dr. Whimsy is tough on people. Let's take a look. You see these beautiful muscles here holding all your organs together? We have smooth muscles, which can become lax or weakened as we age. And the muscles, the skeletal muscles, hold the smooth muscles in place. And so, for that reason, when we have a weakened core, we can see a hiatal hernia will start to form. And so what we want people to do is you can drink water, and by drinking water, that creates weight in the stomach, which causes the stomach to drop down. And then you can slowly begin to strengthen your core abdominals. And by strengthening your core abdominals, you can avoid the problems of a hiatal hernia. Let's see if I have a good image for you guys. Okay, here's a hiatal hernia, and you can see this constriction happening here. So when I fill my stomach up with water, the weight will drop it down. You can also jump on your feet, jump, jump, jump until you drop it down. And then we want to hold things in place by strengthening the abdominals. Here's another image. You can see the abdominals become strengthened here along the spine, etc. And when we do that, when we strengthen our spine and our core, we greatly reduce our risk of hiatal hernia. Any questions about that? You can see here again, coming down. Here's a laparoscopic surgery, but you can do this naturally simply by drinking a lot of water. Bouncing up and down or jogging with a lot of water will pull it back down. And also making sure to strengthen your core, which all these abdominals and back muscles will be strengthened, which just helps to tighten this area and reduce symptoms. If that doesn't help, then you have to look at laparoscopic surgery. Also, we can do massage where we go in with our hand and we actually will pull it down into position, pull it out, just through massage by going in and taking it out. And then we want you to really work on strengthening these muscle groups around it. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is that pharmaceuticals are sometimes necessary for optimal health, but they are overprescribed. And for that reason, we frown upon it as naturopathic doctors when it's really, there are simple solutions. The other problem, as JC pointed out, is that you can become habituated. We don't say addicted because it's not an addiction, but your body can become dependent on these medications in the sense that when you get off a proton pump inhibitor, your body reacts by producing massive amounts of acid. And so, very cooling celery. Sinusitis, it depends on what the cause of the sinusitis is. Like I have a polyp also, which is creating problems. Like when you put your fingers up, you want to do that when your fingers are clean or if you're wearing a glove. And we will go in and we will scope. But, constantly blowing your nose can cause polyps, and that can also cause an irritation. But with me, I can feel it's my bronchi, and it's because I got COVID. It happens. It's not as bad. I mean, I'm not on any medication, and I'm not coughing my lungs out like I was last month, but I'm still coughing. It's not my cat. My cat is so clean. Um, I love you. She's spotless now. The house has been cleaned of all of her. This has been washed, so I don't have. Everything's been washed and cleaned. It's my bronch. I can feel I can feel pain in my back, in my mid back, which is where the bronchi are. I know I still have inflammation. Um, in terms of what my remedy was for myself healing from this, I went to elderberry as my main antiviral. In fact, I'll probably make some more tea today. And then I also put some ginger in it. You can put a little lemon in it and some carminatives. Carminatives are like fennel, which can be comforting to the stomach. I like cloves and cinnamon. Those are kind of fun. I just like them for the taste. But elderberry, and then did I spell cinnamon right? And then marshmallow and mullein. But mullein specifically is great for healing the lungs. So I put some mullein in there. And then you can put, of course, thyme. Oregano doesn't taste good, but a little bit of thyme. Now, I'm very impressed by the bronchial remedies I have been studying out of Greece. And so for that reason, they are drying. So if we're talking about something that dries the lungs, we think about sage. Sage and the Greek mountain herbs are antimicrobial, and they can be combined to a remedy, like the remedy that I just told you, which was the elderberry and the mullein and the carminatives. I put some ground lemon. I have lemon zest or lemon ground, and I have orange ground, which I add to my carminatives. And cardamom also was in there. So today I think I'll do a Greek sage. Mm-hmm. I'll combine that to my remedy, and that will nicely dry the lungs. And then I will also give myself a remedy. I'll steam. I'll steam my lungs. But I'm really an old-fashioned naturopathic doctor from the 1900s. That's really what I am. And I have the education. I mean, I have pharmaceuticals. I paid off my student loans working pharmacy. I got my student loans forgiven by serving for 7 years in a pharmacy for $18.50 an hour. Thank you very much. But I learned the pharmaceuticals in medical school, but I really learned the pharmaceuticals when I was working in a pharmacy. Yeah, so yeah, that's I find we overprescribe, and the medications that we prescribe come with really harsh side effects. But rest assured, vaccination is part of Victorian natural. It's if a Victorian doctor like Hahnemann, who was also one of the main people to create homeopathy, if he were to hear people say that they don't believe in vaccination, he would probably think that they were crazy, because it's the foundation of naturopathic medicine. This is how far removed we are from reality. I mean, but they were doing like treats like with cowpox, right? Where they were exposing people, scraping the skin to cowpox, and that was creating immunity against smallpox. And that was based on the principle in naturopathic medicine of like treats like. L'chaim, l'chaim. So it's very much in keeping with the Victorians. And the greatest discovery of natural doctors and the Victorians, does everybody know what that was? What was our greatest discovery? I say discovery like this because, of course, it was discovered long before that by in Africa, etc. We have the oldest history of this discovery. Does anybody know what the discovery was? It's actually discovered by Africans, but out of North Africa. Earliest hygiene. Telling people to take a bath, telling people to wash, right? Telling people to wash their hands. Eureka! The Victorians said, we discovered something incredible. We should wash. Pretty funny, right? But when we look at what was going on at the history of medicine, which is something I study as a medical anthropologist, I'm also a medical anthropologist. Excuse me. The history of medicine, right? Fascinating how people were doing something, treating certain conditions. We see that surgery was going on in Africa, and specifically, it was happening. We were seeing surgeries all the way from Egypt, deep into what is now Nigeria, etc. We're seeing some pretty interesting healing, but we also see from this ancient medicine, which and also China. But China was not as far along in hygiene as Africa, where hygiene and water therapy, etc., was considered vital to health. It actually predates the Greeks. The earliest baths and references to washing and public health actually comes from Africa. It was later the Greeks began to look at bathing, but they spread a lot of diseases through public bathing. So it wasn't always a good thing. But the earliest reference to hygiene is actually, we see African surgeries, brain surgeries, etc., out of Egypt. Interesting stuff out of Nigeria as well. This idea in Nigerian medicine, if you look at the Yoruba tradition, of a person's condition being either hot or cold. That's why you'll see a lot of references to healing waters or getting into the water. And this idea of water therapy. Was a reference to show you. For some reason there, okay, here it is. These ancient ideas of going into the water, hydrotherapy, just having a jam. It was, if you had a fever or you were sick, you would get into the water and you would be bathed, and they would cool your head with coconut water over the head to cool you. These are ancient. You go to the watering hole. When you think about Europe, oh, I'm sick, I'm going to the watering hole. Yes, we're going. It's all through, if you read the writings of Tolstoy. Yeah, that's the ancient watering hole. Pretty cool. Get yourself to the river. Cool yourself, cool your head, meditate, go inward, heal yourself. So what do we learn from these images? We learn that, cooling yourself, going inward, being clean, hygiene, bathing. Bathing to purify and clean yourself and heal yourself. Actually comes from Africa. So what happened was that you had African doctors coming in to treat diseases like in Spain, the Moors. And hi, Terry, good to see you. They threw out the Moors, they threw out the Jews, and then what happened? They fell into disarray in Europe because they didn't have their doctors, and then we get these plagues and diseases because the doctors had been killed off. Yeah, and they were telling people. Well, an example would be in Islam that you have to wash yourself with water after you use the toilet, right? Wash yourself down there. You don't just wipe it. You have to scrub. You have to clean. But it predates Islam. It's very ancient ideas about the importance of water and hygiene. So these are the earliest. But we joke, we're Victorians. Well, we discovered hygiene, don't you know, us white people in 1900. Hey, world, we just discovered something. We just discovered that taking a bath is really important. People are funny, right? So the other thing you learn from all of this is you learn that by listening to one another and sharing one another's wisdom, the world is improved. The world is improved when we respect one another and when we share our wisdom. Looks like Beyonce. Very beautiful, very beautiful. The doctors were killed, yes, they were killed for witchery, and many of the doctors were women. Jewish women, Muslim women, doctors, what we call today barefoot doctors. They went from they lived the life that I live now, which is that they often had a medicine box and their tools they took with them on the caravan. And whenever there was a problem as they were traveling, where's the doctor? And she would go and she would treat them and she would wash their wounds and give them herbs and salves, frankincense and myrrh. And the reason that she was traveling along the Silk Road was because the travelers would get sick, but she was also learning medicine. These were some of the most educated people in the world, were female doctors, and they were protected. So say they went and spent time in Persia learning about the hospitals and the medicine of Persia, and then sharing their own medicine, and then they might move on to Jerusalem and learn the traditions there, and then they might move on to Rome or Greece and learn the medicine there, and then travel back and go all the way into China, learn the medicine there, and then go deep into Nigeria and learn water therapy, etc. So what would happen with these barefoot doctors is that they accumulated mass amounts of knowledge. And they were just simple, usually women, simple women that just often had no shoes. And they simply walked from literally they walked across the earth, bringing their herbs and their tools, helping people have babies, making their salves and tinctures, often being paid with nothing but a meal. And they were motivated by helping and mastering their skills as healers. And it inspires me when I read about them, because I think, wow, I really want to be that person that travels the world, Japan and Sweden. I did some powerful hydrotherapy in Sweden, right? And then being able to share it with people, what I learned. Going to Greece and spending time there, looking at the Greek herbs, etc., out of Crete, that are growing out of Crete in some of the islands. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, the Greek bathing houses often were a source of disease. The Native Americans also had their own healing tradition. You had the tribes for, well over 10,000 years that had their own traditions. Here in the United States, they had their own herbs like echinacea, golden seal, for immune support. Black cohosh was used for treating women who had hot flashes. So all of that is Native American medicine from some of the tribes. If you look at the Asiatic formula, I think that's an OBGYN treatment for to help with alcoholism and kidney dysfunction. And I always have Asiatic formula in my medicinary, and I will put it, particularly when people are detoxing, I will throw in some Asiatic formula. Oh, thank you, Karen Marr. That's very kind of you. Well, I'm going to have to change it to sweat lodges also again. Sweat lodges and then plunging in the water, alternating hot and cold. Yeah, is similar to what we see in other cultures, the sweat lodges. In Athens, yes, you can get them all over the place, but if you go to the Athens market, the herbs are just available. You can buy them on the streets in the market. That's what I did. They have a very large market in Athens. But they also have, that's the best way to get it, because then you're getting the bulk herbs right there, and you can just buy them right at the market. Oh, you can be there in November. Oh, you'll have a good time. That's a perfect time because it's way too hot before that. Even in October, it was too hot. Oh my God, there's so many books. I can't remember the name of the author who wrote the book about the barefoot doctors and how powerful they were. But we see the death of something like 10 million women, Jewish and Muslim, and they were the barefoot doctors that had come into Spain via the Silk Road. They were just doctors. They had been protected in the Silk Road. But then when they came to Spain, they were viewed as evil and demonic, which is not exactly the treatment you want. That's not how you want to be treated when you're a doctor and you've got a bunch of sick patients. And these were the best and the brightest, right? These were the most educated people in the world. So these women were just trying to help. They were doctors and they were getting killed, murdered, because we don't understand your crazy magic. Well, this is an herb and it's antimicrobial. I'm going to burn you in the stake because this is not medicine we understand. They were frightened. How did you heal this patient? Well, I washed the wound and then I packed it with comfrey. It's called hygiene. Wash your meat, wash it with salt, right? The Muslims and the Jews were saying, remove the blood. They actually forbid people to wash the meat. Well, that probably worked out great for the hygiene. They had rotting meat sitting out in the market, bloody, not washed, attracting flies. Yeah, smart. Oh, you're going to be in my fair city? Oh, maybe, Bridget. That might be fun. Yes. Maybe do a little luncheon or something. Yes. Whimsy Anderson at gmail.com. If I'm in the country, boy, when I get back from Ireland in mid-September, I'm not going anywhere for 6 months. I am not going anywhere. I overdid it. What can I tell you? 8 countries in the last how many months? No. 8 international trips. No. I'm not 18 anymore. I am not 18 anymore. I'm back to being a regular person after I'm coming home after Ireland and I just want to spend my winter here. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to bake bread and I'll have a ton of taxes. I'll probably have like 20,000 in taxes due. I'm just going to work and give it all to the tax man and stay home. I don't want to go anywhere. I got one free. Sweden was free. I had a voucher, so that was great. Yay, free trip to Sweden. Japan was I got. It was not that expensive because I shared expenses with my friend, so you get 50% off on the hotel, etc. if you do that. So it's great if you can travel with someone to cut cost, or just go to a capsule hotel. And this next trip, same thing. We're sharing. I'm going with my friend Francis, and we're going to 50-50 everything. And that cuts cost because it's just too expensive to travel by yourself. We got a discount on the place in Dublin. And then when we get to Kearney, we're staying at a hostel for $32 a night. I'm a simple girl. I'm not going to spend $200 on a hotel. I'm sorry, I ain't rich. You can get a round trip ticket off season for like $700 and just do capsules and take the bus. And breakfast is included. And we get snacks at the local 7-Eleven. Or, it's not expensive to travel. The main issue people have is they can't take time off from work. But travel is not as expensive as it once was. It's really more about getting the time off. Yep. Yeah, the Cultural Revolution, what did it do to traditional healers? Yeah, I think that there was definitely killing intellectuals. Anybody who wore glasses was considered an intellectual. I would have been dead. the workers' revolution in some parts of the world meant killing the intellectuals and just giving the world to the workers. But that wasn't necessarily the story of communism everywhere. If you look at communism in Israel, it was a success because some areas had communist ideas and some did not. The country was based on the British parliamentary system, but the kibbutz was a communist system. So it worked within the context of being a commune that was communist. And if you wanted to live as a communist in a democratic socialist country, you could go live on the kibbutz. And then, of course, the kibbutzes, they started shutting them down and moving towards the crazy right wing. But this idea that communism didn't work anywhere is simply false. In controlled areas like communes, like in Israel's kibbutz system, it did work. It works. But if you were to say to the average evangelical that I'm staying at a kibbutz and we're going to go see Jesus, so you're staying as a communist. And a communist, I don't think that they would be able to handle it. You know, the workers out picking oranges. It was so cool. You know, we all ate together and everybody gets treated the same and they're all together. Yes, it was communism. Communist concept. Some kibbutzim, they privatized a lot of them. They privatized the kibbutzes. It's not like it was in the 70s, but we were, you know, the reason why we had to do that also, why it was the best choice, is that we were taking in large numbers of refugees that were starving, sick, in need of medical attention, traumatized, and they could go and live on the kibbutz, recover, learn Hebrew, and start contributing to the community. And the community was going to take care of them. And so this is why it's such a great idea. Let's do the empath prayer and do some blitzes. Does that sound like fun to you folks? Oh, you cleaned your house? Good for you. Yeah, I'm cleaning mine. Hi, Mila. You know, you look very beautiful since you had your bath. Yeah, you look all fluffy. You look royal since you had a bath. You want to come hang out and say hi to everybody? No? Where's your baby? Where's Flopsy? Did Flopsy fall off the bed? Did you drag Flopsy away to the other bed? Where's Flopsy? You don't know? How come you keep doing that, sweetie? You take your baby and then you can't find your baby. Confess. Confess. You dragged Flopsy off, didn't you? You dragged Flopsy off, and now there's no Flopsy. I know. You're just there alone without your baby. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the humanity. I just find it very annoying because now I have to go find her baby. Does she look forlorn? Look at her. She looks so lonely without her baby. Mila, where's your baby? Hold on a second. Honey, your baby's on the floor. Why is your baby on the floor? There's Flopsy. She drug it off. She drug it off the floor. Honey, when you do that, then I have to go look for it, and then I can't find it, and then you don't have your Flopsy. And then you can't sleep without your Flopsy. Right? Then you become depressed. You have your baby. Yeah. It's okay now. There she is. She thinks that Flopsy is alive. Yes. Flopsy is alive to her. And not only is Flopsy alive, but I think she's afraid that we will take Flopsy. I don't understand, you know, What? I don't know. I don't know. Are you a cat therapist? No, I'm not going to take your baby. I brought you your baby. She's looking at us frightened like she thinks we're going to take her baby away. Oh, they put socks in other dimensions? Yeah. Well, Flopsy, she takes Flopsy and she drags it around uh, and then she jumps up on the bed and then she looks agitated and I know she can't find her Flopsy and then I have to go find it. Anybody else have a cat that does that? Yeah, they're very sweet. Okay. Did I not do the Ibhaz prayer? I guess I didn't because I'm getting asked. It's the damn Flopsy. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Socks. Yeah, she does socks sometimes, but do you think Flopsy's alive, Mila? Do you think Flopsy is a living being? Yes, I think she does. Yeah. Flopsy's your baby, right? Or is it just that you like the way it feels, the softness? I wonder, maybe she knows it's not alive, but she just loves the way it feels. You know, it's like her pillow, could just be her pillow. You know, if you had a furry pillow you could put your head on, maybe it's just a pillow for her and she thinks we're weird. Of course, it's not alive. It's my pillow. It feels good and I like the way it looks and it's soft. Yeah, is that what it is? We'll never know. Hey, Shylock. Shylock. Shylock came out to visit. Are you going to go say hi? Hi, Shylock. Mila, why don't you go say hi to Shylock? He's waiting for you. Whoa, something just dropped. Welcome to my world. Oh. Did I disconnect myself? No, I didn't. Did you guys see it? Can you see Shylock? I don't think I gave you guys a good image of Shylock. Hi, Shylock. There he is. That's Mila's friend, Shylock. Can you guys see him? I always try to get you guys so that you can see everybody, every crazy. Yeah, now you can see him. Yeah, that is Mila's friend, Shylock. Mila, why don't you go say hi to your friend? You don't want to say hi to him today? Is he there? How come you guys can't see him? Is it too high? No, you guys could see him, right? I don't know. He's all the way at the end. He's all the way at the end. I don't know if you guys saw him. The sun's coming up. Mila, you don't want to say hi to Shylock? Oh, well, he's calling you. Go say hi. You gonna go say hi? Look, it's Shylock, Mila. Look. You see Shylock? Hi, Shylock. Hi. Hi. There he is. You gonna go see him? Go say hi to your friend. He's calling you. He wants to say hi. He's going to keep calling until you go say hi. Oh, you can't see? He's too far to the left. I don't think I took it too far over, but you could hear him. He's very sweet. He just gets a kick out of seeing us, and it's part of his morning, and he comes. Sometimes he gets real close, and sometimes they talk to one another. It's kind of cool. Oh, you did get to see him? Shylock is the crow, yeah. And Shylock comes and says hi every day. And yeah, that's Shylock. Did you guys want to do any card readings? Oh, there we go. There we go. Could you please read on the situation in Ukraine? How far into Russia will the Ukrainians go? What are they doing? 20 miles a day now? I don't know what to say other than, I don't have any power. I told people what was going to happen. Nobody listened. Yeah. It was an interesting profile to do Putin. But none of this had to happen. If he had developed friendly trade and opened up a positive relationship, we'd be in a very different place right now. And Russia would be in Ukraine as an economic power developing they would have had great trade, and everybody would, just like you can have Canada and Mexico and the North American Treaty. Why did it have to be something negative? Oh, we're not doing personal readings, Teresa. But if you go to Wizio, quick one question reading, I think costs $30, and you'll get a me filmed. It's not expensive. 5-minute readings. So, yeah, let's take a look at Ukraine. The Ukraine war. I think that they're so angry that, I don't know. We could see Finland and Sweden going in to give backup support because of the NATO. Now's the time that NATO could come in. And they could be supported in the north by Finland and Sweden. Some people don't learn. Some people don't learn. Zelensky has zero tolerance for Russia. And what they have done is completely screwed up their economics and their trade for years to come because of this stupid thing. Now they can't have the equivalent of a North American treaty. They can't they can't have this friendly relationship. Well, they could have started it with their borders. It could have included Belarus and Ukraine, and it could have been like the North American Treaty, and they could have been having great wealth. It's the breadbasket of the world, but instead, and they could have been sharing ports and all that other good stuff. It could have been something really positive. Zelensky is Two of Swords. He doesn't want to hear it. No, we don't want to negotiate. You get some of the land. We want you to get out. No, Two of Swords is, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. The opposition taking the weapons of war away. So they've been completely disarmed. Look at this again. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to negotiate with you. Get out. Boom. You are insane. What you have done to our country. 10 of Wands. Yeah, they're marching on Moscow, headed northeast. Anybody surprised? I mean, heavy load. Yes, it is hard. It is hard, but it's the greatest military defeat in modern Russian history. That is what Putin will be known for. Everyone keeps talking about they've got this amazing military. I don't feel that they have a military. I've always said that they were going bankrupt. They're hammering out a peace deal, an armistice. The experts are going in to draft the peace proposal and get out or we will march on Moscow. The economy in Ukraine is going to be fine. We can see a beautiful economy. We can see the masters hammering out a deal. The health of the nation. They will hang up the invasion if they get an agreement for a unilateral withdrawal. They have to get out. Oh, hi, Australia. Good to see you. So the takeaway there is if you want them to stop, you have to get out of Russia, Ukraine, and stay out. They've reinforced areas. They've embedded themselves in parts of, and they're going to come back. They're reinforcing so that they can come back in the winter. That all has to be gone. Go. Let's see Russia's response, Russia's perspective. How is Russia doing in the next couple months? It's amazing when you talk to these MAGA people, you got it wrong, Putin's winning. It's like, it reminds me of Monty Python's Holy Grail. What you going to do, bleed all over me? You cut off one arm and I'm going to fight. You cut off the other arm, you cut off their leg. Keep fighting, what are you going to do, bleed all over the Ukrainians? That's you don't have an army, honey. They're 350 miles from Moscow now. Hello? They've captured your base, your airport, and now they're raining drones on Moscow. Moscow's on fire, honey. Softening the target before they go in. I mean, what a disaster. Okay, this is Russia's perspective. How is Putin doing? I think that they are going to take Putin. Putin is finished. it goes back to the only way that they're going to have peace is if Putin is gone, in the sense that he can't be the president anymore. A new beginning for him. It's interesting that Ukraine shows mercy or compassion to the Russians that have had to flee. They've actually said, you can come to Ukraine, civilians that need to flee the war. Hopes and fears the armistice. Higher ethics. He's a disaster. Ukraine wins. He's going to be replaced by another man who appears to be a fire sign. You can see here a new beginning for the world, and his opposition has the magician. And love, the family, etc. And here's the new leader, King of Wands. So he's replaced. I think he's replaced by a peacemaker who is going to sign contracts and try and arrange the withdrawal of Russia from Ukraine. And Putin has to withdraw to house arrest like Yeltsin. Isn't that what happened to Yeltsin? Their feeling when I've gone into remote is that they will never turn him over to the West because they don't do that. We will take care of him. He's one of our own. We'll take care of him. Like you took care of Tsar Nicholas II? Is that what you mean? How are they going to take care of him? New contract. Tower. Hopes and fears. Rejection of author. They're going to try and go into peace negotiations this month. They fear that they cannot negotiate. Well, they can't negotiate with Ukraine. There's nothing to negotiate. You need to listen to Zelensky. Out of Crimea, out. And you need to take your equipment and you need to return everything you stole. We've got a list of everything you stole, every icon from every church, every Bible that's 400 years old. We know what you stole when you went into our churches. They ransacked their churches and ran off with the stuff. We want it back. Justice is over him. Look what he did. He's destroyed the whole area. Now it's Russia. Now it's Russia that's suffering. It's over. He's going to be under house arrest. Look at this. The home court. He's under house arrest. Zelensky, it's been a freaking nightmare. What a jerk. He did a lot of damage. Rebuild in Ukraine. International support, partnerships for Ukraine. He destroyed Russia. He really destroyed Russia. Yeah, getting the children back, everything. Hi, Jiggy Pardo. Poor Mila. It would appear so. Three of Pentacles is the home, the domicile, real estate, and then he had the court over it. So the question was, would he be under house arrest? And The universe is conscious, and so it uses the cards to communicate with us. So his real estate, the court's over his real estate. It's like a big computer, and you're like, question, and then it tries to answer like Grok. It's like Grok or GP2 Chat 2.0, right? It's just answering your questions to the best of its ability using pictures. Why were pictures used? Why was the Torah, why was the Torah put into a picture form? I'm sure Debbie knows the answer to this, Deborah. Why did the Torah, we have a Torah, we don't need pictures, we got the Torah. Illiteracy. So not everybody could read Hebrew. And so pictures were used. Not everyone could speak Hebrew. In order to read the Torah, you have to be able to read and speak Hebrew. But if you're traveling on the Silk Road and you're trying to share this philosophy or give people advice, and you're a barefoot doctor, you would just have the archetypes and elemental theory. It would all be there. And then you would pray to the Creator, and then you would bring out the Torah, and you would open up the Torah, and you would get a picture that corresponded to the Torah and to the saints, right? Catholics had saint cards, right? They would pull the cards of the saints. And it was for those, the doctors couldn't read, many of them couldn't read. Women couldn't read. Women couldn't read until recently. If you look at old pictures of praying in the synagogue, women were on the top and men were on the bottom. And it was usually the rabbi's daughter that was literate, and she would read aloud, and then the women would gather around her, and she would read for them because they were illiterate. And that way they were able to participate in the prayers. But there was usually only one or two women that could actually read. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this, and then again, if you're trying to communicate with someone who speaks Chinese or Greek, you would want to use symbols like fire and water, if in whatever limited language, and then that way you could convey what was ailing or harming your patient. So that was why pictures were used. Jeff Sessions. No, I don't think Jeff Sessions would be. Wasn't that a long time ago with Jeff Sessions? Can't even remember what Jeff Sessions did. What did he do? Who is this guy? They're all criminals, right? Jeff Sessions. Oh, didn't he get fired by Trump? There were a few attorney generals, right? First it was Comey, then it was Jeff Sessions. Is that right? Then he fired Jeff Sessions and brought in somebody else. Whoever was going to get him off. That was who he put in the AG. What a sick puppy. Sobriety over him, so he might have a drinking problem or something. Separated the children from the parents. He's having a health crisis, and I think he drinks. Temperance. There's gossip about him, hopes and fears, addiction, and his health. I think he'll be taken out by poor health due to bad habits. Yeah. Not a nice guy. Separated the children. You know, the reason they did that was because they Some of it was good intentions. They didn't want, if people were trafficking children, so they started separating the children from the adults because of the concern for trafficking, but it became another nightmare. Oh, Comey was the former FBI. That's right. So who did he get rid of? He fired somebody. Was it? You're right. It wasn't Comey. Jeff Sessions replaced. Uh, what's her name? What was her name? It wasn't Yels. It was, I don't know. Janet, was it Janet Yels? I can't remember the name, but she got fired after she went across the street and told somebody that Trump was compromised, and then in came Jeff Sessions, right? Yeah, and but I think it predates that, and probably it had to do with illiteracy because women couldn't read. So the most logical explanation would be illiteracy and sharing these concepts with people who couldn't speak the language, because pictures are more universal than spoken language or written. Sally Yates, thank you. You guys have a better memory than me. Sally Yates, yeah. No, he just looks like his problem is his health at this time. What should I have for breakfast? Should I have Cheerios? Did you hear about that kid? He was hungry. He woke up while his parents were asleep on a Saturday, and he wanted Cheerios, and there were no Cheerios, and the keys were on the table. So he got in the car, and he was driving in the car, and they called 911. This is crazy. There's a kid up the road. And he was driving to the store to get Cheerios. Yeah. Fish for breakfast? No. Yeah, Michael Flynn was very compromised. He was taking money out of a Cyprus account to help Erdogan, who was instilled by Putin. Yeah. What's campanata? How about lox and eggs? My ex loved that. That was just too much cholesterol and too rich and fatty for me. I don't like lox and eggs. He loved it. I was like, no, I can't do that. I used to like feta omelets. If I was going to have an omelet, it would be a feta. But it's hard to get real feta in the United States because they usually use cow's milk. Yeah. All right, we've hung out for 87 minutes. Oh, it's a Sicilian dish. All right. Nice. I've just been in this cereal mode because it's simple and it's oats, it's gluten-free, and it's simple. And you don't have to make them. I was so busy this week, you guys, and I'm so grateful. I had so many clients and patients. It was, thank God, it was good. But you know, you can't. I did make some chicken biryani. I made chicken biryani. And I, put it in one pot, and then you just put it in the microwave and warm it. All right. It's just mixed vegetables. You just make a curry, and then you saute some chicken. I soak the chicken in salt and lemon juice, like a good little safadi, clean it, chop it, and then soak it in salt water and vinegar or lemon juice to make sure it's scrub, get it nice and clean, no microbes. And then you saute it in the curry with maybe some onions and carrots if you like. Then you pour in some water and some the rice is soaked to get the starch off of it. You put that in, and you let it cook for about 20 minutes. And then towards the end, you can add raisins and almonds, which I did. And then you take some mixed vegetables, frozen mixed vegetables, and you put that on top. And then you just let it steam for about 5-10 minutes with your curry. I think I used chicken broth also. And then you mix it together with the almonds and the raisins. I don't do currants, I do raisins. And if you're not kosher, you can do a little yogurt on it. You can do a vegan soy yogurt if you want. It's good. Spinach balls, that sounds nice. Yes, that's a very smart thing to do. And that's also what they do in the Philippines. It's just good, clean, good sanitation. Good sanitation. Smoothie, then I have to clean the smoothie. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me. The coffee talk was fun. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, the information is below. And tonight at 6 p.m., we will be getting together. If you are an elder and an empath for class, please join us 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And we'll be finishing up the Hebrew and moving on to the minor arcana. So I'm very excited about that. All right. Peace out, love and light, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Bye.